Welcome back to the third and final segment of the Loveland Report and the Lone Ranger Show. I am Cleve Loveland. We've been talking about how rates are plummeting.
Oh, my
Private
God.
listing networks, they don't work. Just call me. And then how long should it take you is what we're going to dig into this segment. How long should it take you to sell? Or if you're selling and buying, how do you coordinate that? The average time on the month, Bruce, around the country and in Central Florida is over 2.5 months.
Okay.
And then you've got,
I thought it was even longer than that.
I get it. Well, 77 days. That's 2.5 months.
2.5 months.
And so, and that's just the average. There's some people that go longer. I have some people I'm talking to, and it's kind of like, I didn't make it through much college, but it was kind of like the doctor sitting down for an appointment. I'll sit down with people and walk them, go through their house, and they've been listed for 90 days or 120 days. And I ask them about what's been going on and diagnose the property and how it looks. Sometimes it's the pictures look like there was a frat party there the night before. Sometimes the seller's a semi-pro hoarder, extreme collector. They need to declutter. They need to stage. Sometimes because the front yard's a mess. Sometimes because they weren't paying enough co-broke and all their neighbors were. And you got to know these things. So when I look at that, and what's funny is, Bruce, around the country, you know who gets the most, what's not taking as long?
What?
Luxury properties.
You mean they're
your
selling
high-end
faster?
properties. So let's say they are selling faster. And you know why? Those buyers are better educated. They've got more money. They got more experience. There's less fear. This might be their third.
There's also a lot of cash in that high.
There is, but there's their third, fourth, fifth home. They're not worried about it. They know I am best to get this house. If they are moving, I am best to get this house sold, get the other one done, and get back to work, get back to my life. And that's where I see that paralysis. You talk about buyers that have all this fear. They start looking or they won't give you their applications. Get it done, people. Just get back to work. I've never had somebody, Bruce, in my 35 years call me and say, I want you to come buy this house back.
No.
And I never had a seller that sold something saying, darn it, we should have hung on for longer. It's like, yes, you could have made a little more if the market was on its way up, but what did you buy? That went up too, so it's a personal situation, and I will help you make your best real estate plan, and we can help you figure out what your next move is. And I just think right now, people hesitation, the buyers are just do it and then work on your next one. Leapfrog, work on saving up for the next one.
And we'll get another Leapfrog class on the books here coming up. I think we'll wait till after the holidays, but because people just don't want to go to that stuff over the holidays. But we have worked on helping people become wealthy by keeping the homes they have. So we talk about these golden handcuffs, and that means that you got a 3.5% 30-year fixed rate and you need a new home, but you don't want to go to a 6.5% rate. So what do? You still got to move. Why don't we keep that home and turn it into a rental property? Now, some folks may say, I don't know, I don't want to be a landlord. Well, problem solved. Cleve can handle all your landlord situations for you.
Yep.
Or we'll show you what to do to be a landlord. You want to try it yourself for a little while?
And this is why
Let's show you what to do.
I love you talking about the people that need to refi. And I'm going to send out a note to my database. I've got some leapfroggers chomping at the bit. The last house they bought in the last 24 months or 12 months.
The rate's higher.
They're in the low sevens, and they need to be down like 599, 589. Then they'll pull the trigger. Some are going to lose their PMI, which makes a difference too. Another reason people should talk to you.
Beautiful.
And can you flip somebody out of let's say they do have the equity and they got an FHA mortgage there. Would you refi them FHA or just
it all depends on their score, all depends on their loan to value, if they've got more equity in the property. But if I can get a client over to a conventional loan from an FHA loan, I usually will. But you have to remember, FHA interest rates are quite a bit better than a conventional interest rate.
Like VA is really good, right?
VA and FHA loans, I mean, you're all day long in the fives. In some VA, you could buy it down into the fours. Now, be careful, veterans, because I get the same solicitations you get. And I'm having lenders say, I can do a refi for you at 4.75%. It's a lie. They're not doing it at 4.
That's not even 15-year rates aren't even in the fours, are they?
You could do, you can do a 15-year, but they're saying 30-year. But by the time, what they're doing is they're luring you in.
Bait and switch.
It's a bait and switch situation. A client called me. He says, Bruce, this other lender's quoting me 4.75. I said, well, according to VA right now, 4.75 would cost you 7 points to do that loan. So I don't think that they're going to give you that rate. Okay.
I just think when people are on the market, Bruce, they got to know what's going on. And when you're on the market, if you don't want to take 3 or 4 or 5 months to sell, you got to look at it every couple of weeks. I sit down with my sellers every 2 to 3 weeks and go through, okay, you didn't sell. This is who did, because our market is still moving. Thank goodness. It's still moving.
It's moving.
The 5 Ds are still happening. We still got diamonds. We still got diapers. We still got divorce. We got death and downsizing.
That's right.
Or downsizing, then death. Right. But those things are all still happening. Our market is moving. It's just not a busy market. And that's what you got to look at. But if your house isn't selling, you got to look at why. What is going on? And most of all, the one good thing if you're selling and you're buying again, and we'll talk about how to do that in a second, But if you're doing that, then the shoe's on the other foot when you go to buy, and you'll get a little more off
Isn't
the
it
price.
funny? They'll complain that they're not getting enough from the sale of their house, but they're getting a bargain on the buy side.
And then when they
now.
go on the other side, yeah, they still want more. But you got to look at that. And sometimes, especially when you're downsizing, those are the people who need to do it quickly, because
Right.
not only would they save, let's say they save 15 grand a year off property taxes, utility costs,
and you can
and
port
mortgage
those.
payments, and you port that homestead over. But all those things come into play when you're downsizing, especially somebody, I've got somebody with a reverse and they want to get out of the big mega mansion and get into a little house. And even with the reverse is climbing like $4 grand a month. It's a really old reverse mortgage.
So true. So true. Matter of fact, I'm taking a client out of a reverse. The client that had the reverse passed away. Their son's got the house, and one of them wants to buy it.
Yep.
And so that they actually waited too long, and the house went into pre-foreclosure.
Oh, goodness.
And I took the house out of pre-foreclosure, and now the one son's buying out the property and
Yep.
going to use it as a rental property.
Yep.
And I think that's a great idea. Reverses are great for some people. I don't think they're
Very
great
rare,
for
rarely,
as many.
rarely.
Well, I'm not even going to say rarely. I'm going to say that you have to really fit into the category. Like, I'm looking at my cousin Noreen right now. She's at 74 years old, and I'm looking at possibly doing a reverse for her right now because I want her to cut back on working. She's still on her feet. She's a hairdresser. She's in the shop every day. She's working hard. And you know what? I'm like, honey, let's just kind of relax a little bit. And you don't want to move out of your house. Her daughter wants her to move in with her, and she's like, I ain't doing that. So she wants to stay in her own house. A lot of folks do. They just want to stay where they know. So let me help you with that. A reverse might be right for you. It might not be right for you, but I will tell you whether it is or whether it isn't. My name's Bruce Woodburn. I'm the loan arranger. I'm right here in your backyard. You can call me for a purchase, a refinance, a reverse, a home equity line of credit, construction loan, renovation loan. You name it. I got that kind of loan. My DSCR is very popular for investors. They don't need to bring their tax returns. They don't need any income.
Are those
documents.
rates now? Regular rates have come down. Have the DSCR rates stayed the same? Or
no, DSCR rates have come down along with it. If you've got good credit and you are using my DSCR program, I have methods where I can get the interest rate pretty darn close to a conventional interest rate.
So 6s for an investment property?
Possibly, but
Okay.
Investor, usually you're going to be in the high 6s, low 7s.
That's still awesome.
That's still great. But you don't need your tax returns.
Yep.
Like, I had a client that they went, no, I want the lower rate. I went, great. Here's the lower rate. You're self-employed. You have two companies. One company loses money. The other company makes a little bit of money, but you have a lot of write-offs. And by the time I'm like, okay, I need a profit and loss and balance sheet on each company. And I need the tax returns for that company. Oh, I need your K1s. By the time they were done, I went, dude, you would have paid $40 a month more, and I could have eliminated all those headaches from you, but they didn't want to listen to me.
That's what's important about people knowing where they stand. Get the application in, get fast track, be ready. It's just really important. Realtors, I can't say enough about Bruce. If Bruce has your client and they get their app into Bruce, you will know if that buyer should be in your car or you need to wait a couple months.
Absolutely. And you know something, your clients are going to get great service. They're going to get a great interest rate. I'm a direct lender. Our communication skills with our real estate agents and clients are literally over the top. I have daily meetings every day on how we can be better at being great communicators with our clients. It's important to us. We want our clients. Listen, getting a mortgage seems like a daunting task. It can be a pain in the butt. I mean, you got to dog down and find all, pay stubs and W-2s and all kinds of information. My system has streamlined that, so it could not be any easier for the client. And we can do that because Cross Country is a direct lender. We don't have any middlemen. Our requirements are so much easier than your bank. People think that, oh, I'm just going to go to my bank because, that's where I bank. It's going to be easier. It's not going to be easier. They have overlays. I don't have overlays. Overlays are additional restrictions that banks and mortgage companies put on loans to mitigate.
And that's the bait
risk.
and switch. They say, oh, I think you're going to be 6.25. And then all of a sudden, oh, wait, we have 3 overlays. You're at 6 3/4.
That's right.
Yep.
It happens all the time.
So buying and selling, I want to talk about this real quick, Bruce. When let's say you're going to sell a house, it's time to downsize, it's time to upsize, whatever it is. I can help you coordinate that process, because it is daunting. I mean, people don't sell a house that often, and then coordinating the moving truck, getting all the closings to happen simultaneously. So a couple of ways I do this. I make sure everybody's prepared, make sure we've got that done. And if you're a seller, and I'm doing this with some of my sellers too, is we'll get in the car before you're on the market and go get a site picture on what you want. And can you tell I grew up on a gun range? Get your site picture. All right. So you're a $500,000 buyer, and your house, you're going to sell your house for $399. You're going to move up to get something bigger, closer to school, whatever you need, closer to work, a little bigger, a little newer, a little bigger yard. And I want you to know what 475 looks like, what 500 looks like, what 525 looks like. And then they talk to you, make sure they're good there. I've given them an estimate of what they'll walk away with on the sale of their home. And I hone these numbers. I refine these numbers as we go through the process. And then when we get on the market, as soon as that house is under contract, with all my marketing, with all my radio advertising, with all that, when you're under contract, we negotiate a great deal. Sometimes I can get you a little lease back after the closing, where you get to stay in the house and move, because moving day can be a little hectic if you've got to have the house empty, tranquilize the cats and the kids, and then you go sign on your house you're selling, go meet the money over at the other title company, and then get signed up there, meet the moving truck at the new home. And for the buy side, coordinating all that can be a little hectic. And so sometimes I can get you a lease back after that.
We do it all the time, and I'm not going to tell you that it isn't stressful, because it's stressful for anyone, because there can be a domino effect. Because if the sale of your house, anything has a hiccup with your buyer, and how are you controlling the buyer? The buyer that's buying your listing, anything could happen with that, right? And that's why you use me, so you know it's not going to happen. There's going to be no surprises.
I know it's done. You resuscitate probably one deal a month for me when I have an agent.
I'll tell you what, all you folks out there that go to your credit unions, Navy Federal, all these credit unions out there, because they quote you these incredibly low interest rates, and then you come back to me. I got a lady right now from Ohio. I said, how'd you hear about me? She goes, I caught you on the internet. She goes, I'm with Navy Federal, and they've conditioned my loan, and they won't use income that should be used. And I know VA guidelines. I looked at it and I went, you're right, lady. They should be using that, but they're not. And now I got to close a VA loan in 15 days in Ohio. I said, I'll do that. I'll do it. I'll have it done.
Go through some of your products. I just love hearing that list.
Conventional, VA, FHA, construction perm, renovation loans, the DSCRs, bank statement loans.
FHA construction perm, VA construction perm.
VA construction perm, VA renovation, USDA renovation loans, USDA. Speaking of government shutdown, even though a lot of banks cannot fund FHA and VA loans during a government shutdown, right? They can't fund them. There's no money. We still do them, because we keep our mortgages. So we're just going to keep them. We'll insure them with VA and FHA later. There's no.
That's incredible. I got to check my closings for October.
The only one that will not close during the government shutdown is USDA. And there's not a lot of them going on.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of that anymore.
No, not a lot of them.
Well, they happen in rural areas, and shoot, for Central Florida, we don't have many rural areas.
No,
you got to go way outside. You're out in
go to Paisley.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Paisley or Mascot. Which is
Mascot's starting to move in that direction.
It is. I think the villages finally are reaching there. Anyway, you need anything real estate, you can call me at 407-352-8118. One of those rooftops on your street, I probably help sell it, buy it, or manage it as investment property. Loveland Properties would love to help you out, or go to cleveloveland.com.
Yep. Or call Bruce Woodburn, Cross Country Mortgage. I am the loan arranger. You can reach me at 407-250-9144. That's 407-250-9144. I want to thank Cleve Loveland and his team for taking such amazing care of my clients. I really love working with your team. And I want you to know that if you are looking to buy, please check me out. You owe it to yourself. Everybody starts with a soft credit pull. If you're looking to refinance, don't get caught up with all the shenanigans. There's a lot of shenanigans going on out there.
Yes.
Right. So don't get caught up with it. Find somebody that you trust. I'm applying for the job. If you don't feel like I'm the most trustworthy lender you've ever dealt with, then fire me on the spot. I promise you, I will always lead you in the right direction. The Lord has blessed me. I'm glad to be on the air with my friend Cleve, and I'm glad to be helping so many wonderful people out there at Cleve. And thanks so much for all you do for our community.
You're welcome.
Truly appreciate you.
Appreciate all you listening.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Have a great weekend.
407-250-9144 or webringyouhome.com or cleveloveland.com at 407-352-8118. Have a great weekend.